Why the best offshore banks don't want your money. July 2023. Nigel Farage, former leader of Brexit, one of the most influential political figures in the UK and a multimillionaire. His bank, the Bank of the Queen of England, closed his account after 40 years. The official reason? Your values are no longer aligned with ours. If they can do this to him, what do you think they can do to you? In this video, I'll show you how 90 years of banking history created a system designed to keep you under control, regardless of how much money you have. And more importantly, I'll show you exactly what to do to reach real banking freedom. I'm Matteo Maglia, Partnership Manager at GloboBanks, the banking introduction company for international accounts. So let's zoom out. 1933. America is on its knees. 4,000 banks have failed. A lifetime of savings gone. The government reacts with a revolutionary law, the Glass-Steagall Act. For the first time in history, a wall is built between traditional banking and investment banking. 1 year later, 1934, Switzerland goes even further. Revealing information about a bank account becomes a crime. Not a fine, up to 5 years in prison. Officially, this was to protect Jewish families from the Nazis. But the truth is they created the most impenetrable banking system in the world. A system where secrecy was not a service, but a law. For 40 years, this system worked. Your information was protected, your deposits were safe. Then something changed. The 1970s, American banks looks to Wall Street with envy. Why can they speculate while we can't? They start finding loopholes, creating subsidiaries, bypassing regulations. The Reagan government supports it. The regulation will make America more competitive. 1999, the final blow. The Gramm-Leach-Bliley Act raises 66 years of protection. Overnight, a new monster is born. The mega bank JP Morgan Chase, Citigroup, Bank of America. For 10 years, these banks gamble with subprime mortgages. In 2008, they lose. The government saves them with taxpayer money. Too big to fail. The public is furious. Politicians promise never again. But instead of limiting speculation, they impose an avalanche of new rules on every aspect of banking. A law called FATCA changes everything. The US forces every bank in the world to report all financial activity of American citizens. Doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter where your money is. Then comes the Common Reporting Standard, the CRS. 120 countries join. Not only Americans, everyone is now being tracked. Switzerland gives up 83 years of banking secrecy. Dodd-Frank. 2,300 pages of rules, a turbocharged Patriot Act. Every suspicious movement must be reported. Compliance costs skyrocket into the billions. The risk of a fine rises into the hundreds of millions. And suddenly, the most cost-effective solution becomes closing accounts. But why would a bank close accounts if they lose money doing so? Let's do the math. Scenario A. Keep open the account of a potentially risky client. Compliance costs per year like $500 up to $2,000. Dedicated staff, continuous monitoring, documentation checks. Risk of a fine if something goes unnoticed, from 10 millions to 1 billion. Reputational risk, infinite. Profit from that client, 100 or 500 per year. And then we go with the scenario B. Close the account. Cost, 0. Risk, 0. Lost profit, 100 or up to 500 euros. As the Bank Policy Institute writes, given the size of penalties, no margin can compensate for the risk. A practical example, HSBC, one of the world's largest banks, received a 1.55 billion euros fine because several accounts were not monitored correctly. For banks, keeping your account open has become a liability. The rational decision? Close first, ask question later. This is how mass the banking was born. Not out of malice, but out of poor mathematics. Regulations meant to punish banks ended up punishing normal clients. What's happened in the last few years? 343,000 British citizens lost their bank accounts in 2022 alone. Banks now close more than 1,000 accounts per day. Compare 343,000 accounts closed in 2022 versus 45,000 in 2017. American banks filed 1.8 million suspicious activity reports in 2022, almost 5,000 per day. In 2023, the projection was over 2 million and the reality surpassed it. A terrifying number, only 5% of these reports leads to real investigations. 95% are innocent people who have done nothing wrong. Yet 28% of those receiving multiple checks have their accounts closed. Here is the truth your accountant doesn't know, your lawyer doesn't know, 99% of people don't know. Inside every major bank there are two completely different systems. System number one, the public pathway. You fill out a form, an algorithm scans your profile in 3 or 4 seconds. No social security number in the US, so instant rejection. No credit history, rejection. Politically exposed person, rejection. A name that sounds Middle Eastern, rejection, especially in Europe. JP Morgan receives 50,000 applications per month. It approves the 13%, including in-person applications. And it gets worse. When you are rejected, your name enters check systems, a shared blacklist across all US banks. One rejection at JP Morgan means an automatic rejection from Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citi. It's like having a negative credit score you didn't even know existed, and it lasts for years. European banks are already applying the same logic. Then we have the system number 2, the private pathway. How do you access it? One word with 300 years of history, relationship banking. 1796, Geneva. The merchant bankers of the Lombard and other families don't wait for clients to walk into the bank. They travel to Paris, Vienna, London with letters of introduction from existing clients. By 1910, during World War I, Swiss bankers traveled with brochures and personalized registers to approach wealthy clients in person. It's not advertising, it's personal introduction. The system works like this. Baron X presents Count Y to his private banker. The Baron's reputation guarantees the Count. This system has a name, introducer banking. For 200 years, this was the only way to access private banking. No forms, no public applications, only trusted introductions. In 2025, the system is identical, only the names have changed. The modern introducer has a formal agreement with the bank, gets paid by the bank for bringing pre-qualified clients, knows the relationship manager and bank directors personally, and carries the responsibility of reputation. Why does this figure exist? Simply mathematics. Customer acquisition costs through normal marketing for a bank like $5,000 up to $10,000. Acquisition cost through an introducer is like $1,000 up to $3,000. Approval rate of introduced clients like 85% up to 95%, and approval rate of public application just 13%. Banks have every incentive to favor the introducer pathway and restrict access for those who try alone. The introducer is not a middleman. He is the guardian of a 300 years banking tradition, a tradition that is more valuable than ever while the public door closes. The introducer is your ally in this silent global war for the control of capital. The US uses FATCA as an economic weapon. Europe has surrendered financial sovereignty. Your information now flows automatically to 120 countries. In the UK, over 1,000 accounts are closed every single day. 343,000 closures in 2022, a 700% increase in 5 years. Who gets hit the most? Entrepreneurs with international companies. Anyone born in a high-risk country People with politically sensitive opinions, Muslims, nearly 10% of UK adults face stricter controls, anyone working in crypto, and most entrepreneurs make two fatal mistakes. Fatal mistakes number one is asking their accountant, lawyer, or entrepreneur friends. Your accountant knows 2 or 3 banks, the same ones he is always known. He cannot be updated because that's not its job. He will tell you to just apply online like everyone else, and the result will not be what you expect. Fatal mistakes number 2, doing it alone. Maybe you have like $500,000 and you think, who wouldn't want my money? Here's who: the algorithm. It doesn't care about your wealth, it doesn't care about your intention, and once you are rejected, you are burned. Check systems exist for a reason, to prevent banks from overlapping applications, so they share rejection data. If one bank rejects you, the next will follow without verifying anything, simply trusting the previous refusal. And in the next 24 months, we will see central bank digital currencies, the end of cash, fully digitalized and fully tracked banking, and even stricter access criteria. The elite already knows all of this. The global banking system has 2 doors. One is closing forever. The other requires a key that 99% of people don't even know exists. Now you do.